It's Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, WCCS, AM 1160, FM 101.1. Let's talk to our Indiana County Commissioners this morning. Commissioners Baker, Hess, and Ruddick are in the studio with us. Lady and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today as we talk about items of interest all across Indiana County. What's up today? Mr. Baker, you leading off?
I'll lead off, and then I'll hand it off to, well, they can flip a coin.
Okay, then.
Because I know they have a lot of interesting things to say.
Let them arm wrestle instead.
That's right, yeah. And I'll say a few things and get out of the way here for you pretty quickly. First, I want to start off by thanking everybody who came out in support of the county's 9/11 Remembrance Day ceremony last week, and especially Sheriff Fyock and for helping to put it all together, and to Bill Sink and his staff for making it all work. We were very pleased that we had representatives in attendance from all of our public safety communities, as well as the military. And I wanted to thank Pastor Jack Lucas for his support, as well as Tracy Gordish for lending us her beautiful singing voice for the program. And, of course, I want to thank Renda Broadcasting and Josh Woodison for the broadcast and the Facebook streaming that made it possible for so many people who couldn't be here that could still participate. So kudos to everybody who came out for the event. And as I said, we're determined that we'll never forget the tragic events of 9/11, and ceremonies like that really help to ensure that doesn't happen. So,
Absolutely.
I just wanted to update a couple of things. I took some time yesterday to visit a number of our county departments and talk with the directors about what's happening as we draw kind of ever closer to the time when we put together our annual budget. As everyone knows, the budget is always a challenge, but we've always had the cooperation of our elected officials and department heads, not only in controlling costs, but in expanding revenues wherever possible. And I'll talk about that briefly in a moment. But we have a lot of great people working with us to help manage the costs of county services, and I'm confident that we'll have the same experience moving forward in this coming budget year. So, as I said, expanding revenues, I wanted to talk, just to highlight for a moment, the efforts of our warden at the county jail and his staff, who are doing really great work in an area where it might seem like a very unlikely place. But Sam Busnaughty, who is our warden, has been very proactive in reaching out to other counties where they are experiencing overcrowding and some other inmate housing issues. And he's been successful in bringing some of those inmates here to our jail facility in Indiana County. Now, some people might wonder why that's a good thing. Why do you want to bring them here? We have enough problems of our own. But the truth is that for reasons of public safety and security, our jail has always been at a full complement of staff, even though we don't have a full house of inmates. And so we have some room there, and our jail's never been at its full capacity. But by offering to house these out-of-county inmates, Sam has helped us to create a revenue stream that helps pay for the costs of housing our own inmates. And as of yesterday, we had 61 out-of-county inmates at the Indiana County Jail, in addition to 127 of our own. And the jail charges these other counties between $55 and $60 per day per inmate. So depending on how many out-of-county inmates we have at any given time, we can enhance our revenues by $65,000 to $100,000 a month. And so that all occurred as a result of Sam's diligence and his efforts to not only assist his fellow wardens in other counties who have these other issues and overcrowding and compliance issues, but he's done it in a way that it is a win for Indiana County as well. So I just wanted to shout out to him and say, Sam, you're doing a great job there, and we really, really appreciate your efforts in helping to increase some revenues for the county.
Very good. Very good. So, Commissioner Ruddick, you're standing next to a microphone over there. You can
I
weigh
am.
in this morning as well.
And my colleagues, as well as you, Todd. So thanks for allowing us to join with the county this morning. It's always a privilege to come on the radio. And I'm going to speak a little bit this morning about a topic that we don't necessarily get into detail, but I think it's an important piece of our oversight for the county, although we are not necessarily directly staffed to make increased support of this particular program, but we're talking about workforce development and education for Indiana County. Mm-hmm. We recognize this as our full-time really engagement. If we don't have a strong market plan for Indiana County, if we don't have businesses, if we don't have employees that work and are skilled to go into the jobs that open, then we're hurting as a community. And I think we have some real progress that's been made. I think a lot more work needs to be done. If you look at the unemployment rate for Indiana County over the last year, we've been right around 5% to 5.5%, which is pretty much right around the Pennsylvania, a little bit higher than Pennsylvania, but I think that's to be expected in a region that's focused on coal. We've lost a lot of jobs because of the coal mining industry. But I wanted to make comment that if you look at those who are employed in Indiana County, about 50% of those who are employed are part of the construction trades, the mining trades, or those involved with transportation and or utilities. Now, when you think about that, are we preparing those who are in our school systems to actually get into those trade markets? That's the key that we face. And I think we have to be a little bit more open-minded about how we move forward, and I think we're in the process of doing that. I just came back from a 2-day conference in Pittsburgh regarding this particular issue, and the focus of this conference was called The Future of the American Dream, and it had to do with the landscape of workforce and our democratic way of doing business. It had a lot of discussion regarding the macro point of view and the micro point of view, and I don't want to go into detail with the audience here today on the macro, but we talked about as a nation, where do we go as a nation, and I think we've taken a lot of our lead from our national leadership. And there's no single solution, but there were some things that really we need to focus on as part of that discussion, and that has to do with restoring our local business climate. Mm-hmm. And that is a key piece. That's the family-owned businesses and those in Indiana who have made Indiana County successful. Investing in rebuilt infrastructure, and we're talking about roads and bridges, which we're in the process of doing right now, and improving productivity. I think that's a key. And that led us to more discussion involving how are we becoming more productive, and the term automation came up. Uh-huh. And a lot of communities in this world are really getting involved in the automation piece. And so we need to look at revamping our education and training profile, we believe, focusing on these particular issues. And we want to make our effort towards those who become highly skilled workers who can make the most out of their technology base. That is the key piece that we see. The greatest impact on this measure at the county level, as we see it, and I think my commissioner colleagues would agree with me on this, it has to do with the public-private school systems that we have in Indiana County that we really measure very high as being very, very successful. We have also with us the Indiana County Technology Center, which we'd like to see be a stronger part of this process. We also have Westmoreland Community College, which has stamped a footprint here in Indiana County, and we're looking for Dr. Tuesday Stanley and her team down there to come back to Indiana County in a more engaged way so that we can get some of our students from the technology center or our school systems into that Westmoreland Community College as a 2-year effort towards a 4-year degree.
Sure. And
IUP has been very, very gracious in working with this process to make sure that they are part of the solution and not part of the problem, because we want to make sure that we are working as a team to make this happen, and and we have to reinvest certain energies to make this happen. And I'm just going to complete this with saying one of the biggest areas we have is we have to find a way to provide more adequate support for child and family support programs, because what's happened today is to get individuals trained, particularly the displaced workers, and that's where our focus has to be. Mm-hmm. They need to have the opportunity to get into these training programs. In a lot of cases, they have families, and so the families need to be supported as we get into the training profile. So I think that's something we can look at, we can work with, and that's what I think we should be doing, and I think we are going to do that. So.
All right. Terrific stuff. Commissioner Shereen Hess, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great, and
Wonderful.
I just want to, in the same vein as what Commissioner Reddick was talking about, helping our displaced workers, and I've been doing few things with the agriculture arena related to that, and was excited to hear last night about a grant, a $1.75 million grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission that went to the Fayette County Community Action Agency and Republic Food Enterprise Center. And where am I going with this? Their target audience is displaced workers in coal countries and coal counties like ours. So Indiana County is going to be able to benefit from that project, and it's all in concert with our Penn State Extension folks and our Conservation District folks and our agricultural community, who are talking about exploring how to expand animal agriculture in Western PA. And we had a nice meeting about that last night. And Scott Shealy from the Pennsylvania Department's, he's a special assistant for workforce development with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, is here today, and we're going to take him on a tour of northern Indiana County, of a few of our operations up there, and then have a talk with him about what we can do here in terms of workforce development in the agriculture arena. And it's not just about farming; it's about food systems. It's about connecting our producers with the exportation opportunities and things of that nature. So lots going on in workforce development. And you're absolutely right. I think it's a significant issue. I think that we, just like a lot of things, we got off of it for a little while, and now we really need to get back on it. And people are working hard. Yeah,
it's interesting what Commissioner Ruddick was saying about these people that we're trying to get trained also have families that need to be supported. When they're going for their training, it could be something as basic as somebody has to watch the kids while mom or dad are in class. And if we can find ways that we can provide some services in that way, then that needs to be done in order to develop the workforce, which is what it's all about in this day and age. Yeah. All right. Well, lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here this morning. We appreciate your visits.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Anything you need to do and discuss with our listeners, you let me know, and we'll get them on the air.
Okay. Thank you, Todd.
Very good.
Thanks.
It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. It's WCCS at AM 1160 and FM 101.